that were said, but Adonis, I'm laughing because you remind me and a lot of people in this space, in that you started out good natured about this thing, but the more you talk to them, you kind of get radicalized, and you realize you really got to stand on business because they believe they're BS. And then you're over in the UK, so you know how they like to say it's just banter, and we don't banter. They think it's cute going back and forth, and they play really dirty. Oh, you're just slaves, you're bullet bags, you baby mamas, whatever. They don't know in the United States, like, you get a hurting put on you for saying certain things, because the things that they're saying to us are historical harms. And then they wonder why somebody said we're retaliating. We've reached the crush phase. We will crush these people with our mouths and however else if they, try to buck up in our own country. But that whole banter thing, they don't know how to stand up for themselves. So they want to have little slick mouths with people like little children. But somebody else mentioned something about delineation, how they delineate it. And so what they do is they delineate all over the world. But somehow in the United States they think they're us, and now they're starting to speak up from every corner of the world in a white country, acting like they're us, using Southern accents and all this stuff while waving their flag all over the world. Then they stereotype us to justify their lack of accomplishments. If they can tear us down to where they are, because see, a lot of us are too polite to say what I'm saying. They want us to be a lower class people. We're not them. And I say that to their faces because we have accomplishments. We're not lost to the title of the room. We have history that transcends everybody in the world, rooted in this land. And so they want to tear us down. It's like when you got that real hood person, and they're like, don't forget where you came from. We didn't come from Africa. We definitely don't come from your ancient culture or your present modern culture. So anyway, that bothers me. And then they're so hyper focused on us. Those are Caribbeans over there in the UK talking about we're lost. They're Caribbeans. They came over on the transatlantic slave trade, but the Africans and their own Caribbeans don't attack them. But we're supposed to be lesser than and lost, but they don't say that to the Caribbeans. They don't say that to the Australian Aboriginals. They don't say that to Brazilians, right? They don't say that to dark-skinned Mexicans. There's Mexicans over there celebrating Juneteenth, every Juneteenth in Mexico. Melanated Mexicans. But they're so hyper focused on us, and they don't want to admit they actually love us to the point where they hate us. They're so jealous. But one of the things I really wanted to bring up, if you pay attention to these people, their parents, they come here, no entry plan, no exit plan. They come to the United States. Now, a lot of times these people are the coons in their country. They were picked because there was a coup or whatever. They were overthrown. The United States government is going to let those people come here first, just like the Ukrainians and the Afghanis and all that. Those are the coons and the sellouts of their country. So they're being indoctrinated into their homes. And the ones that aren't are privileged people. Then the third group are people that were lucky enough to win the lottery or get a scholarship to college. So their only entry plan is, I'm going to the United States or the UK to survive. That is not a plan. They don't have an exit plan. And I'll give you an example. I don't know if everybody's paying attention to this, but Burkina Faso, they kicked France out of Burkina Faso and said, you're not going to exploit us anymore. We're not paying post colonial taxes. They kicked out their military and everything. Niger, same thing. They haven't even stopped to think what happens if all these other African countries start doing the same thing, and France and other European countries go, oh, okay, well, you guys aren't paying post-colonial taxes anymore. You're now a hostile sovereign entity to us. Y'all gotta leave. Like you said, Adonis, they're over there trying to be so bougie and dandy, and high class and assimilate into a culture that's not even theirs, they don't know what to do if they got shipped back. They don't have a sense of, hey, they go, oh, we're going to make our money here and we're exploiting the US because they colonized us, or Europe, and we're going to make that money and then we're going to go back home. They never go back home. And when they do, statistics have shown they are back over here and in the UK in 2 to 3 years. So they have no entry plan, they have no exit plan. They if anything jumps off, like right now the whole world is unstable. If anything jumps off, are you European? Are you American? Or are you African? Or are you Caribbean? And are you in touch with your culture enough to go back home and live comfortably and not get smacked down? Because they don't like those people that jump ship. And then one of the last things I want to say is that they keep talking about African booty scratcher. I used to ask them this on Clubhouse. And I said, what have Black Americans ever done to you such that you have such animus towards us? And they're like, oh, you've never liked us. And I said, well, give us some examples. And they don't have any. I said, you moved to the United States, you live around us, you party with us, you go to our schools. We never burnt you out. We never chased you and murdered you like white people. We've never done that. We don't do that to anyone. And then they grasp at a straw. How is it that every African that was in the United States or Caribbean was called an African booty scratcher when hardly none of us even use that term? And then so I said to them, I said, well, then you need some mental health counseling. If you're letting an elementary school taunt turn you into these aggressive haters, these aggressive jealous haters, then you need some mental you need some therapy. Because when I was in elementary school, I kind of got through school unscathed, but they used to call me an Oreo because I lived in a white neighborhood. So am I supposed to hate other Black Americans because, oh, in elementary school they said I was an Oreo? Like, that's crazy. So they're trying to latch on to anything to say that we've harmed them, when in fact it's pure jealousy. And I came in, I don't know which podcast you're talking about, but if you look at these podcasts, you got all these African and Caribbean girls with these big ass wigs, baby hair, using Southern accents. I see Dylan laughing. The guys are all trying to wear fitteds and, look like Black Americans all over the world. They're podcasting and we're the main topic. And they go, oh, you guys think you're the main character. It's about time you recognize that we are, pay homage, follow our brown print, because we are the brown print. We've done something that no other melanated group has been able to do. We are the great and beautiful Black American. We have accomplishments that are crazy. And Adonis, you said in my closing, I want to highlight this. You said you asked them about historical figures. They can't tell you anything. They don't know the average American. Our history is so deep and so long. We can go back to Callie House, Fannie Lou Hamer, and just keep going. And we can talk about our atrocities and how we overcame them and how we got to our greatness. And that's like, hats off to Tariq Nasheed for microphone check, being able to show uh, hip hop didn't develop in a vacuum. It didn't just pop up in the 80s. One person didn't invent hip hop. That is a culmination of our historical music, all the way from slavery to what do you call those hymns? Whatever we call them, the slaves' hymns, whatever. They can't do that. And that's why they can't speak with us, because they have no foundation. And so when people go, what do you mean you're a foundational Black American? We're foundational to the country. We were here before the country was founded. We were here before it was the colonies. We've been here, we're rooted. And for them to try to come here and tell us you're African, you don't know our history. You don't know anything about the American Indian. How do you go to another country and demand that you be able to rewrite someone's history because they want to be tied to us so badly? Now we have to be African. And then I asked them, well, if we're all Africans, then you guys can drop your tribal names. I mean, if we're all Black, then drop all your tribal names and we'll all be Black. Otherwise, if you're all going to be Black, then I can be Nigerian any day I want to be. I can be Ugandan. I can be Haitian, I can be whatever the freak I want to be because you don't get to immigrate into an ethnicity and they know it's an ethnicity. So I'm going to close with this. Black Americans are not lost. We are so rooted, and like you said, you ran your genealogy. They can't do that. When I did my genealogy, I come from a long line of farmers, like way back, like going all the way back to the late 1700s as far as I've gotten. A long line of farmers, on the Texas side. And the Louisiana side, there's farmers, there's you know, I can't think of the term, but anyway, and then, in modern times, we got into our professions and stuff like that, but they'll never have the pride that we have. So they're always going to try to tear us down and tell us we're lost. So, anyway, thank you, man. And appreciate you, Adonis.
No, I appreciate you, CC. Like every single time I've ever been in any particular situation, or I needed some type of information pertaining to Black American excellence or Black American history. You've always been there in my corner, giving me any type of educational information anytime I needed it, and I truly appreciate it. And this is to be honest with you guys, I'm gonna be very transparent. This is the part of the community I truly do appreciate, and I think that needs to be promoted more. The fact that we can sit down, have these educated conversations, and spread wisdom to one another, and not in a demeaning